For someone that gets bored easily, the last 3 years sure have seen me spend a lot of time in the saddle clocking off the miles, with 2021's Grand Tour stretching 2,100 kilometres in 21 days, plus thousands of kilometres of training to complete it, and the same high volume to get to Paris last year, with 3 tough back-to-back 100-mile days. This year has seen me back off a little bit with a newfound love for running. I think I've earned a little bit of a fallow year in 2023, but the bike is still my oldest passion, and the one thing I wanted to do this year was to see if I could ride further than 200 kilometres, which I did last year. And so, early on the longest day of the year, I clipped in at Trio and in Monmouth, where Bex and I got married decades ago, to see how far I could ride.
Yeah, all good, man.
And once again, Dave was at my side, not on the bike this time, but driving support with top-up water, food, coffee and a smiling face. I don't think Dave will ever know what his spirit of adventure and to have him at my side really means. So from Monmouth and on down the Wye Valley, all beautiful new roads to me and ones to be explored in the future.
I think it's just before 7 AM on June the 21st, 2023, is that how we say it? And I'm in the Wye Valley somewhere. If any of you watch Sex Education, it's where that was filmed. And Dave Rostron, somewhere down the road here. I'm 22k into the longest ride I should ever have done in my life. We'll see how it goes. I don't think I've ever been so inadequately prepared for anything in my entire life, actually. It's 2 days after Grit Fest, which was amazing. There should be another video in the offing about that. The plan for today was always to try and ride 400 kilometres. In all honesty, I don't think I've even gone out and done a 100 kilometre ride this year. Flies in the face of all my usual over preparation that I usually do for things. The other end of the scale, really. I only really looked at the route that I'd sort of tentatively planned back in January. Yesterday, Dave rightly pointed out that it could be quite interesting when we get down towards Glastonbury, because it's the festival this weekend. We'll see how we go in terms of what the traffic's like. We might have to change the plans, but there are a few worrying factors for today. The plan really is to try and ride the 400k in 4-hour blocks, a la Mark Beaumont, just to see what it's like to do one day riding like he was. Dave Rostron's out in his van supporting. He's got spare bottles, got coffee facility and coffee making facilities. There are a couple of worries. One is obviously fitness. I haven't really gone out and done anything any distance. Fit as I am and as strong as I am, I haven't done any long riding. And on the first day of Gritfest, the Saturday, there was an epic climb that was just horrendous. And I rode quite well, but after that, got cramp in both legs. Not at the same time, thank goodness, but I was having to unclip and stretch both legs out. Like I was on a balance bike for the last 5k. Luckily there wasn't anything too massive, and on the Sunday I then had the sort of shadow of that, you know what I mean, with cramp you kind of get this shadow, so I was having to sort of temper any really hard effort sort of 10-15 watts below what I'd normally do, just to sort of stop that cramp coming back, and I can still slightly feel it, but then if I'm making any real efforts like that today, I'm in real trouble. So there are a few concerns about today. So like with any project, the minute you sort of know you aren't gonna reach the, check the map a sec, reach the sort of highest heights of when you start a project, you have these grand aspirations, don't you, of what it's gonna be like. And then you have to sort of deal with that when maybe you don't hit them. And I think when you're doing a project, it's really important to have whatever that high goal is the best case scenario, and then factor in a sort of baseline goal, and then one in the middle of that, a kind of better case scenario, just so that you've got something to re-aim at. And so obviously 402.3 kilometres would be ideal today. That's the best case scenario. It's 250 miles. See if I can get back to Clevedon before sunset. Should be around about 16 hours ride time. we'll see how we do. And then a better case scenario is going to be, I think I said 360 kilometers, which is 200 miles. And then a best case scenario, it'd be nice to hit 240k, which is 150 miles. That's a baseline, 150 miles. So I think the furthest I've ridden was with Dave last year in preparation for, well, for this actually, for London to Paris. We went out and did 200k. Felt okay at the end of that, but of course I'd done quite a lot of long rides leading up to that. So we'll wait and see. We'll see how we get on. But actually coming into Tinton now, which is where we rode with the gravel travel lot back in January or February, I think. So familiar ground, but you know, 400k is a long way. If I am going to make it that far, first of all, I should shut up, and secondly, I don't want this to be too long a video, and covering 400k is enough. So what I think I'll probably do is, I mean, I'm really screwed if I get to 100k and I'm in trouble. So what I'll probably do is hop on in the second block after I've completed this first 100k. This guy's been up 100 more times.
That's it, James.
And over the Severn Bridge and onto familiar roads, the first 100 kilometres to the first major resupply stop were just a dream.
How you doing, mate? We're good to Ulverston.
I'm over the wrong side of the bridge, so I'll have to fiddle around.
Alright, I'll see you at Ulverston.
Right, see you in a bit, mate. Right, start leg 2, a little bit frustrated. Well, I mean, not really frustrated. At the end of the day, plans had changed, and I said that I hadn't really planned this very accurately. I really haven't. I messed up the timings, basically. I've cocked up what time we should have left, and there's no way, even if we cut the brakes down by 2/3 and only stopped for 5 minutes, there's no way I can get back and do 400k before 9:30 p.m. So we're going to go for a new distance. We're going to go for 320k, and given the time, that should be easy. It's 80k less, it's 50 miles less. It's still 200 miles, still a long way further than I've ever ridden. Should also mean we can keep away from the Glastonbury traffic, which is no bad thing. But yeah, slight change of plans. So does mean rerouting the plan. So we're going to head to Wedmore, catch up with Dave for a second stop, bottle swap, and try and work out how he can cut the route a little shorter, and still get back for ice cream on the beach before sunset.
Right.
Hey.
How are you doing?
Alright.
Yeah, good job. Good job.
Not too bad.
We had a quick rerouting stop to avoid Glastonbury Festival and then pop. Not physically, not by a long way, but mentally. My God, mentally. And it's now been quite a considerable amount of time since I've done that ride, and I can still feel the sensations of that 4-hour block. The first 100k were fine. The second 100k was just the darkest place I think I've ever been in my head. And I've done some ultra events and endurance events where people have really struggled, and I've completed them relatively with a smile on my face and enjoyed it. But that was super tough, just being in my own headspace for that 8, 9, 10 hours. All the stuff to do with work, all of the issues and the worries and the fears and the concerns for my workmates and myself and my family, and all those things that I spent all the years building up really came to roost in that time. And it made me realise really the strength of those endurance athletes that are able to do this day after day after day. But probably more important than that is just the mental resilience, yes, but also making sure all your ducks are in a row before you set off on these challenges, and making sure that whatever it might be, whether it's financial or relationship based things, the things that I saw bands unraveling on tour buses on the road, and bands splitting up over the years, it all suddenly made sense, because it just amplifies when you're on your own and there's no one there to bounce ideas off of or to distract you. God, it's really under the microscope. Super tough.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. So we'll do another 50, and then if I'm feeling okay, then we'll do a bit more, and we'll just take it like in 10k blocks and see. But if it's anything like the last half of that last 100, I just want to go home. Yeah, but you know, that's a decent stop, and the legs feel fucking great. So, right, mate, I'll see you on the road.
And that decision to do 250k had an equally uplifting impact on me. From an utter low, one I've never experienced before in my life, to, well, joy really, almost annoyingly good. My legs were in great shape, cruising along 33, 34, 35k an hour, having ridden 200 kilometres solo.
How you doing?
I feel bloody brilliant.
Do you?
Now I'm careering along at 35k an hour.
So what have you done now? You're at
242. Try and park up by the salt house, the actual salt house. Like the field.
yeah.
And I'll fiddle my way around until I get there. And then we're, you know, wherever I get to by then, I'll be on my way home then.
Sweet.
All right.
Okay, mate. No worries.
Right,
Cool.
yeah,
Well
thanks,
done.
mate. Nice
Sweet.
one.
See you in a bit.
See you in a bit.
There he is. Hello, mate.
Let's go home.
Home. Sweet. See you in a bit.
So riding 250 plus K is not something to be sniffed at, for sure. It's not what I'd intended to do, but it did bring home for me the understanding of making sure that when you are doing a project to have these set goals. I think if I had only set out to do 500k, well, maybe that's what I needed to have done, really, a bit like Mark Beaumont, this kind of 100% commitment, all in or nothing. But realistically, for somebody like me that isn't one of these superheroes, I needed to have those different levels of goal, and I hit the lowest one. But I didn't fail. I think if I'd have gone out to ride 400k, I probably would have climbed off before I'd got to 150k, let alone 250k. So, boxes tick for that. It also makes me realise that if you want to do something, you need to train for it, not just physically, but mentally as well. The lack of prep, not just in training, but in terms of the route and understanding what me and Dave were going to do and how we were going to communicate and where he was going to stop, all of those things need sorting out before you clip in and set off. But the main thing really was the mental resilience of that ride. Really struggled with that inside my head for the first time ever. But of course this was an unprecedented time really in terms of what was going on at the time that are now more settled. So perhaps that'll have an impact on the next time I go out and set out to do that. I still want to ride 400k. Thanks very much for watching. If you aren't subscribed, hit the notifications bell. Give me a thumbs up, leave a comment below. And in the meantime, until the next video, make sure you take good care of yourself.